During the pandemic, streaming saved many people stuck at home from boredom. As a result, revenue soared at Netflix and Disney, among others, and the golden age of streaming seemed assured. Not so fast, it seems. With subscription costs on the rise, advertising making its way into the mix, and projects being canceled left, right, and center, such digital content juggernauts could be in for a rough landing. Let's find out more from the creator and showrunner, Julian Dezzotti, who has 3 shows currently on CBC Gem. Ramona Pringle is here, Associate Professor of Media Production at Toronto Metropolitan University, and Eli Glasner, Senior Entertainment Reporter and Screen Time columnist for CBC News. And it's great to welcome you 3 to our studio. You back once again, first time in a long time. You 2, I think, for the first time. Great to have you here. Okay, Eli first. We're calling this program, Is the Golden Age of Streaming Over? What's the answer?
Not quite. It appears to have plateaued. I think there was a lot of fear in parts of Hollywood and Silicon Valley where Netflix actually lost subscribers and, that growth that seemed unstoppable. A little thing called the pandemic happened and the growth kind of slowed, and we all had a lot of time to do a lot of binging. And so maybe we kind of had our fill, and also maybe, we've kind of reached that saturation point between just how many things we're subscribing to ourselves and how many customers there still are to convince that haven't decided to fork over $15.99 a month. And so it does
Plus
seem...
HST.
Exactly. So it does seem that things have changed, and now the pitch is not so much about new subscribers, but revenue. But I think we're going into a new phase now where the streamers are really like, okay, we've got our established ground, we've got our brands, now they're kind of fighting with each other, but that phase of like never-ending growth is probably behind us.
Okay, Ramona, how would you answer the question?
In a somewhat similar way. I think we're past the phase where you were racing to get new subscribers, where people were switching over from television to this new world of streaming, which was so exciting and offered so much potential. Now everyone is signed up, and not only have they signed up for one service, they've probably signed up for multiple, and they might be feeling the pinch. We're talking about people feeling the pinch in so many different ways. And then all of a sudden, if you can't find anything to watch despite thousands of titles, you might start wondering, like, what am I doing with multiple services that are, racketing up my bill each month? On the other hand, we love video. Like, we love video content almost more than maybe more than any form of entertainment. And so to think that we're going to see the end of streaming services anytime, I think streaming is the way we engage with video. So I don't know that it's going anywhere, but I do think, that kind of the floodgates, the waterfall moment that we saw a few years ago is starting to cool.
I had a friend tell me the other day, I've seen Netflix now. That just sounds ridiculous.
So what's fascinating?
But he meant it.
Yeah, and what's fascinating to me about that, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about this too, Julian, is there's so many shows that make it to Netflix, but if you do not make it to the homepage, if you're not in the top 10, if you're not in what's trending, if you're not in, what they say other people are watching, you may not get discovered. And what's, a little bit of a bummer, for lack of a better way of putting it, is a lot of those shows now are, especially if you look at a service like Netflix, not the most the boldest, bravest ones, but it's a lot of reality TV looking at the lives of wealthy people, a lot of the stuff that we thought we were getting away from. So it can feel like you've seen everything.
Gotcha. Yeah. Julian, is it over?
No, it's just beginning.
It's just beginning?
Yeah, it is. I think there's just been a bit of a market correction. There was just sort of this massive spending that happened, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, I don't need to spend $15 million an episode on a show, maybe it can be 5. So I think people have started just to dial back how much they're putting out there, trying to get big talent attached to limited series and smaller form shows. But breaking through really is the trick. And how do you get above the noise? I'm still talking about White Lotus today, I saw it last night. Am I going to be talking about it on Thursday? Not so much. So I think you really need to find a show that's going to somehow break through into the conversation. And you can't depend on a place like Netflix or CBC Gem or anywhere else that they're going to put in the marketing dollars and the support behind you to get your show pushed to the front, because that's really what it is about, and being able to get eyeballs on it, and a lot of things do get missed.
Let me get you all to react to, you want to bring this up, Sheldon? Here's Travis Andrews writing in the Washington Post, saying just when streaming has finally attracted more viewers than cable or broadcast TV, its major players are engaged in a long-predicted war for subscribers, who are becoming all too aware of rising subscription prices and, both subtly and directly, a change in what programs get made and how long they stick around. Commercials could soon become more common, and services may be bundled for one low monthly price! Already triggering visions of a future that recalls the dark days of cable. Now, here's what they mean. We got another graphic here with some of the latest of what everybody can get here. We got streaming services and then the cost. Amazon Prime, almost $10 a month. CBC Gem Premium, almost $5 a month. Crave at almost $20 a month. Disney Plus, almost $12 a month. Netflix, of course, big range here from maybe $6 to $21 a month. And Paramount Plus, the old $9.99 a month. Now, if you add all that up, it's around $63 a month. So the question then becomes, are we back at cable here for $63 a month?
But you're missing a price from your chart there,
Tell
which
me.
is free. This is the latest thing, which is people upset about those prices. People looking at it and thinking, why did I cut my cord if I'm forking over 70 or 80 bucks a month? And so now you have this thing called FAST, free ad-supported television. Last week, Pluto TV comes to Canada. This is Chorus and Paramount working together. You go on the website, there's nothing to sign in. It's just ad-supported. You start watching an old Beverly Hills 90210 or whatnot, and every now and then you're bothered by commercials, but you're not bothered by those monthly bills. And I think that is a direct reaction to, we cut the cord, but then what did we get? And so in a very strange way, we're going back to cable, not with the same level of access and maybe even the same level of quality programming.
Bingo. Bingo.
But yeah, well,
you're not going to
exactly.
get Yellowstone on Fast, are you?
No, you're not. No, you're not. And I think at the end of the day, quality is king. And so you need those shows. You need your Game of Thrones. You need your Lord of the Rings. You still need those programs that are going to drive people to subscribe or come back or whatnot. But this new tier, which is the free tier, is, I think, a symptom of the frustration that a lot of people have.
But if we're getting back to monthly fees here, and then even some ad-supported streaming services as well, have we just traded in streamers from cable?
I mean, it's easy to say that it looks that way,
Yeah.
for sure. And, you know, it's funny that you talk about the shows that come back, these syndicated shows. I remember, you know, coming home from school and it was MASH and Golden Girls and all these shows that were in syndication. And we left that world for a while because everyone was competing with what was new. And, you know, you were saying you watch something, you talk about it for a day, and the lifespan of these shows is quite short. I'm also, though, you know, a believer in the ingenuity of the audience or the customers, and I think there's going to be pushback there, where it's not just, okay, well, we want ad-supported content, but I've been noticing, you know, peers and, you know, different people talking about the ways that they're hacking the system. And so, for instance, you know, Black Friday was a couple of weeks ago, and someone was making a list, a Google Doc of a shared list of all the media outlets, all the media sources you could get on sale, where, you know, it was $1 for an annual subscription to this magazine, this streaming platform, and even more granular, where they would say, you know, don't sign up for yourself, sign up as a friend, so after a year it doesn't auto-renew on your credit card. People are really conscious of what they're spending and trying to push back a little bit. I also think, you know, if it is about quality being you know, what's dominant here, and people do have multiple services, it may be sort of, well, let's watch this one. Once we've tapped it out, we'll just cancel the subscription for a while, hop over to something else.
People do that?
Yes.
They do that.
Oh, yeah. I want to see Succession. Then if I don't need to see anything else on HBO, I'll just cancel it later. Same with Yellowstone, as you said. Though I don't think you can actually get the new Yellowstone episodes on Paramount Plus. I signed up my mother for it because that's what she wanted. And then she's like, I
Signed
can't
up
even
your
watch
mom.
it. It has to be Paramount Network. So that's another problem, is you're going to these places because of the shows. And then sometimes after 6 months or a year, they're not there anymore. They're on Peacock. So you have to go get Peacock to be able to watch Friends. You have to be able to be pretty nimble and keep up with where they're putting these shows.
And frankly, I don't think Netflix has had enough of those big must-see shows to keep people locked in for the year. So you got your Stranger Things, you got your Bridgerton. More recently, you have Wednesday, which is about Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. Those are the big three kind of hits, and I guess Squid Game. But other than that, they have been trying. Their problem is they're kind of the glory days of Netflix, where we didn't realize we were now in this new kind of world of streamers competing with each other, and they still had some of the content from the other big studios. But then the studios woke up and went, no, I'll take my Avengers back, and I'll take my Star Wars back, and I'll take all this and that. And so now they're trying to stock the shelves with their own franchises and own must-see brands. But creating content out of nothing is not that easy. And I think they're still struggling to find that sweet spot.
Juliana, how do you think people are either reacting or going to react to the notion of ads on Netflix, and even beyond that, charging people to share passwords with family and friends?
I think people just get used to it. So either they'll be okay with ads or they'll pay the extra money not to be able to sit through them. I know a lot of the time with TV, my partner sits at home and it's background noise for other things. So he doesn't mind that there's an ad or two. So for him, it's not a huge problem. But I think at some point, it's all about how can you aggregate all these, channels together. So it's just easier to get to and it's easier to find. I think sometimes, it really does come down to convenience more so than even money sometimes. Yeah.
No one wants to pay more for something they've been getting already
Right.
Yeah.
included. But how do you think people react to the notion of paying more to share passwords and so on?
Oh my goodness. I think that people will be really frustrated by it, especially because this is the internet. This
Yeah.
is the internet, which, was meant to be,
To be free.
When we talk about ads, I feel like, the one that we aren't talking about is also Amazon, which is in this is very Big Brother and a little dystopian when you think about it, but it's sort of in the best situation to have an amazing show or just a kind of, entertaining reality show, but they're kind of pushing the pants that she's wearing and pushing that product that's in the back and, click and buy it the next day. And I would probably order something every night. I'm not the only one that way. I think there's going to be a lot of different models, and it's not necessarily going to be, cereal and insurance and the same kind of ads that we've seen in the past.
Can you talk about that? How well is that working? Because of course, not just the possibility of ads or products that their characters and shows are watching, but they've got data on us as well, right? Are they monetizing that very well?
That's a fascinating question, and it really, the early days of all these streaming platforms was very much a conversation that was in line with Facebook and Twitter that, they have that granular data. They can target us. They could target specific niche audiences. But, if they're pouring millions of dollars into an episode, they don't want it for that specific niche audience. They want it for that audience that we were saying that they were going to move away from, which is those broader Nielsen groups, right? And so I think what's interesting is, maybe not so much using that information to target audiences when it's content creation. There's still only so many great stories that get told in different ways, but I think it might be more around how we engage, how they're now using it to distribute or reach people. If you look at, they're playing around with movie theater releases. Netflix will put something in a theater for a few days, and I think that they're using the same software models that they, would use for.
Hold off on this, because we're going to get to
Okay.
this. This is good, but we're going to get to this in a second.
Sure.
Can we play this clip now? This is, geez, I got to confess, I've never seen this show. You guys have all undoubtedly seen this show. This is a show called Barry on HBO.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's nodding like they know what. Who's the guy from SNL?
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. He's the star of the show. Now, this is a scene featuring Sarah Goldberg's character, Sally, finding out that her show is being canceled because the algorithm decided people didn't like it. They didn't do this back in the days of All in the Family and MASH, right, Ramona? Okay. Sheldon, let's see this clip, please.
We are canceling the show.
What?
Why? Well, the algorithm felt it wasn't hitting the right taste clusters.
Taste clusters. It's been 12 hours. Don't we need time to get word of mouth?
Oh, the algorithm takes word of mouth into account, but it considers other things too. For instance, if viewers see someone eating dessert within the first 2 minutes of the episode, they almost always finish the entire season.
Always.
Oh, and it's not just dessert. The same goes for Central Park, Kittens, Dev Patel.
We have a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. 98. And people were crying at the screening.
I know, and I was one of them, but I guess I was wrong.
Okay, Eli, can you just basically translate what we just saw?
I mean, there is this fear that your Netflix and your Amazons of the world, and especially for content creators, they know more about how your product is being received than you do. And especially Netflix, you know, the word is that it's a black box, that they have all this information, and they do. Like, it's a funny scene, and it seems like it's about like the Wizard of Oz, like the man behind the curtain. But yes, it might not be within 12 hours, but they have remarkable research. They know what kind of shows a certain audience wants. They know how long the audience is going to, you know, if they're completing it. They're looking that you complete the show, and hopefully you go on to watch the next show and the next show. And they have a very kind of, the fidelity on their information is really remarkable. Now, should they be sharing that with the Julians of the world? I mean, I don't want art created for algorithm. I want art that is art. I mean, the great things that move my soul were just created by, you know, mad people sitting in front of typewriters and coming up with ideas, right? But this is the competition, and, you know, data is brutal, and that is what you are fighting against.
I got to ask you about this. Have you been in a meeting like that before?
Oh, yeah, but usually they just send you an email saying your show's canceled. They won't tell you to your face. But, you know, it's pretty true. I think, though, there are those creative executives that see that data and also go, no, this is a show I really, really believe in. This is a sort of, or a Schitt's Creek, and they do want to take the risk. So I think we still have to give people the benefit of the doubt because, yes, we're the ones who create technology, but I think sometimes we need to be the masters of it. But it can be very, very disheartening to see something like that and to know that, you know, the stuff that I make that's coming from a very particular point of view is being dictated by a formula or an algorithm.
Is that where we're at now? This all-powerful algorithm is deciding everything nowadays?
Yeah.
Break it to them.
Yes, and your
Like
shows.
that-
Break it to me gently, Ramona.
That 12-hour piece, you know, I know, Eli, you go, it's not really 12 hours, but I watch it, it's just like, it's heartbreaking. It just makes me cringe because it's not really much more. And whether it's streaming on, you know, a show on one of these platforms or any of the other social media platforms where you're a musician or any kind of creator, anyone trying to make anything for the world, it does feel like the age of the sleeper hit, the age of being discovered by people who were passionate, they were going to find you, which, you know, was the promise of the internet, was that anyone could find anything. I feel like in the early days it was, you know, there are rom-coms from Japan you'll be able to access. There's this whole, you know, world of Bollywood, and it's all going to be on our fingertips because we're all connected and information is everywhere. And yet, it's just like, oh, it's another city of Real Housewives or this other spin-off that Netflix is doing because it's affordable and they know right away, within 12 hours, that the people are going to come back to it. And that's, but I also think that there's still room for the creativity and the new
Let's
shows
hope
and the
so.
stuff that's tremendous that's going to break through, because I think that is stronger than the AI. Like there's, and this is, I think, the like wrestling match that's going on right now is audiences and what we want and what we have a taste for and what moves us and what genuinely has cultural impact, what shakes, you know, the collective, and the AI, which can make things quite monotonous because it's looking for patterns.
Well, I think also part of this wrestling match, as you just described it, is the fact that there were shows that were either in the pipeline, in the process of being made, and then suddenly, for no apparent, maybe you can tell me why, Eli, just canceled. Batgirl was supposed to go, what was it, right, straight to HBO Max, and then theaters, and
They made a decision that it wasn't theatrical, and then they made a decision and it was part of a much larger merger. And essentially, it was like a tax thing, is that there were various products and it was easier for them to essentially hit delete. And you would think, you know, that there was an audience that you just stream it, people will find it. But just because of the accounting, it was easier to just say, no, it's done.
how does that make
Forget
any
it.
sense at all?
I mean, from an artist point of view, it doesn't make any sense. If you could bring the accountants in here, they could try and explain it to us. But it is bizarre in a world where we do know, just as you were saying, like there are all these niche audiences, and there is certainly a pocket of like rabid Batgirl fans that were ready for those filmmakers who had worked on Miss Marvel, that couldn't wait to see the actors that were involved, but between the numbers and then someone deciding that it didn't quite fit the brand and the direction of the DC universe, which has been lumbering along for years. And so this very promising new BIPOC version of a superhero, done.
Has that ever happened to you?
I was replaced my show was replaced, like by Batgirl or
No,
something?
no. I mean, you got the green light. You were sort of in the process and in the throes of putting the show
Oh
together.
yeah.
And then canceled.
But not canceled. It just got stuck in legal, like business affairs, for a year and a half. So you can get. That's, I think, as personal experience, it's called development hell for a reason. You can get paid to do something, and then it just takes forever for people to make the decision, or you're at the mercy of these larger corporate forces, and then it gets stuck in their legal department because you're working with a studio, and the studio wants to be able to own a particular part of the show. They want to be able to own the show so they can sell it off and and get more money.
My head hurts. there.
Absolutely. Well, mine does too. And all you want to do is just go and make your little show. So, but what was so funny, I don't know if you saw this, AMC Plus, they had greenlit a show and now just canceled it. They were about to go to camera and they just canceled the show because they had a huge corporate bloodletting over there. Right. And now it's like, imagine being the creator who, I find my show is finally getting made, and it's like you can't really enjoy yourself.
So really, you should have had 3 studio accountants for this episode.
Yes.
Exactly.
Keep things
Well,
straight.
all right. Help me understand this. Again, back in the day, they would make a movie. It would go into movie theaters if it was good for a very long time. And then it might get to television somewhere down the road, right? Nowadays, you make a movie, and even if it's really good, it might be on a streaming service a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later. Why is this happening?
I mean, it's a continuation of a trend that started before the pandemic, and then the pandemic truly accelerated things. I remember talking to Josh Whedon over a decade ago, and he was already telling me when he was at TIFF presenting his Shakespeare film that the middle movie, like a small film with a couple movie stars that didn't have robots, it was just about a thing made for adults, that was already on the way out because of what had arrived. Marvel and the Avengers and like the event film. You're gonna see Barbie, you're gonna go see the new Spider-Man, you're gonna see something with brand recognition. We have, for better or for worse, and many would say for worse, habituated the audience now that the only reason or the biggest reason to go to the movies is for that must-see thing that everybody is talking about that is probably nostalgic and familiar and costs hundreds of millions of dollars. So when you say you make a movie, you release it, so what kind of movie did you make? Does it have brand recognition? Is it part of a franchise? If it's just people saying things and meant from a more kind of adult audience, it might go direct to streaming. It might show up in some independent theaters.
I've got an example of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Knives Out. Knives Out. Now, we all saw the first one, right? It was really good. Haven't seen the second one yet. The Knives Out sequel, apparently it's going to be out for a week in limited theatrical release and then go right to streaming. Now, why would they not let it stay in the theaters for longer?
So, anecdotally, one of my colleagues in the School of Media was at the theater to see it and was talking to the manager and was asking some of these questions. And the theater manager said, I would have liked it for longer. I would have liked it in a larger theater, which is fascinating, right? And to me, what it reveals is this is a software company that's doing what software companies do. This is where I was saying A/B testing. So they may not be using, all that data for deciding what kind of content to produce, but they are probably using it to figure out how are we reaching people with this content. If we're now competing with each other, what is that distribution strategy? And in some cases, it's going to involve the IRL, the in real life experience, the movie theater experience. It's holiday season. I don't know necessarily. You're the expert in probably holiday season movies, but it seems really early to have 1 week unless what they're looking for, because everyone's still in school, unless what they're looking for is buzz to make sure that by the time everyone's home, they're all watching it when they're on holiday.
This was an advertising campaign for subscribers and already existing Netflix customers. They spent over $300 million to buy the rights to Knives Out 2 and 3 from director Rian Johnson when they saw how big a smash it was back in 2019. Like I said, they're trying to stock their shelves. They want new brands. They only put it out for a week, because they're not in the business of making money from movie theaters, because that money is nothing compared to what Netflix can really bring in when you have to split your revenue with the theaters and all of that. So they ran for a week in about 600 theaters. It did amazing per theater business. Many of the owners would love to have that movie. It could have run for maybe 3 weeks, but it was essentially an advertising campaign to remind, oh yeah, hey, Netflix, you want to watch that? Come back December 23rd, and that's exactly what it did.
This whole show reminds me of the Facebook relationship status, right? It's complicated, this whole thing. Can I thank Ramona Pringle from TMU for coming onto the program today, along with Julian Dazzotti and Eli Glasner on the other side of the table. The golden age of streaming. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
Work in progress.
Work in progress.
In Canada,
Well said.
work in progress for sure.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.